What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Evening Drive. My name's Sam Cox, and this is Evan Walters.
What up? What up? What up?
If you listen, listen, if you're driving home right now, stuck in traffic, or sitting in a parking lot pretending you're still on a phone call so you don't have to go inside, you're in the right place, right? This show is auto related, yeah, but honestly, it's for everybody because whether you sell cars, sell houses, sell ideas, or you're just trying to survive work and keep your sanity, you're going to relate, man. So we're talking real life, real news, real opinions, and probably a couple moments when you're going to be like, yep, that's me.
Love it. I love it, man. Yeah, it's all real, right? We're real guys just talking about real things that there's not a lot out there, right? There's not a lot of people talking about the evening drive. What do you do after work? How do we, I've been asked this question a lot too. It's like, how do I win at work and then not lose at home? Right? Like sometimes we can get caught up in winning at work or winning at our profession, and then it's like, how do I continue to win at home? Right. I think we just had an event here in Lexington at our office. It was great, Sam, by the way. I enjoyed every bit of it.
Yeah, it was a blast. It was a blast.
It was, man. There's a lot of people here, and we got to do what we love. But it got brought up a lot of like, yeah, I'm winning at work, but I feel like sometimes I'm losing when I get home, right? So Sam, what's like one way, like, well, obviously we were crushing it, selling a lot of cars, working a lot of hours, doing all the things. And one thing that I know that you did well at was like not taking all of the negativity or taking the things home with you. So like what could we tell people that are listening, like if they're kicking ass at work and their profession and stuff, but they feel like, at home or their personal lives that they could do better.
Yeah, you got to find a way to uh, eliminate it before you get home. I mean, you got to find a way to like get that, whether it's, whether it's like this. I mean, that's one reason for this, one reason for the evening drive. Or if it's just listen to music, like I would listen to music. I would find ways to not take home whatever happened for that day. Cause yeah, man, we were working some serious hours, and I'm not going to, I wouldn't replace any of those years for anything. I mean, there were some great years, but we sacrificed a lot, man. It takes a different type of breed, to sacrifice that. So, I mean, that would be, yeah, that was my thing. It was like music or podcasts or anything I could find, books, anything I could to just completely unwind. Now, I was different. I had like an hour and a half drive. All right.
Yeah.
Some of you guys got, I think we had what Sam Hatch said he's got like a mile drive or something. So, I
Yeah.
mean, some
Yeah.
people don't have that. So, I mean, how about you? You had a shorter drive than me. And
Yeah.
honestly, you mentioned on the last episode about like locking the gates at the dealership. And I know this is not for just for auto people, it's for everything. But I very rarely ever like shut down the store. I mean, let's just be honest. I very rarely ever did. So what did you do? I mean, there were nights when you get home at 11:30, midnight.
Yeah, yeah, and, so let's go to, like, locking the building up. To be honest, like, I found and this might be weird to some people, but I found some sorta, like, peace in it, right? Because like, we were super freaking busy, man. There were customers, there was people running around, and it's like comparing it to a tsunami and then like a still water, I don't know, like not even like a lake that's just no waves, no ripples, kind of like this peace. It was really weird, man. And I haven't really even talked a lot about that before, but getting out of a grind day mentality and like performing at freaking elite levels and then quiet, man. It was just like it was so weird and tranquil at times, right? Because there were might be like a few people left over that were cleaning up deals or doing certain things, but it was like this peace. So like when I got to lock the gate, I really when I locked that gate, I mostly reflected about the day and about, all right, man, this is real, right? Like I started in detail cleaning cars and I never had the opportunity to see the dealership that late at night or with no people in it. So
So
I
hold up,
really
man. Hold up, man. Hold up, man. So you're
yeah,
telling me after spending like 12, 13, 14 hours in the store
weird, dude.
that you're using your evening time there when everything's locking up for
Yeah.
reflection, for a
Yes.
little reflection time.
Yeah. Yeah, it was weird, man. It was like, it was something then that not a lot of people got to experience, and it was like, "Okay, man,"
I
like
didn't experience it very much,
yeah, I know you didn't. You were one of the first out. No, I'm just kidding.
but yeah, I was.
You well,
For
you had
those
that
of you listening, get to your level, get to the level where you can be one of the first ones out.
that's right.
Absolutely.
That's right. But no, it's something that not a lot of people got to experience, and even, like, the people that did, I don't think they took it the way that I did, and to be honest, looking back, it might have helped me keep a clear head and keep pushing even on difficult days. But on the ride home, I would typically and I was different, man, because I would ride in silence. So weird, right? Like, I wouldn't have any music. I would have my windows down maybe a little bit, my sunroof cracked open, and I just wanted to think about nothing. As weird as that sounds, dude, I literally just wanted to be free of any thought. Like, and I know you guys, like, up at the desk, you were spinning or you were, doing deals and all the things, but, like, in finance when especially, like, on a Saturday, right? Like, on a Saturday when we'd sell 80, 100 cars, whatever, and I'm contracting 20 deals that day, like, to decompress and have nothing on my mind, no numbers, no nothing, just silence, right? Sometimes that got me in the place I needed to be so that I could go home and not take all that with me, right?
So let me ask you this. I know one of the big headlines right now hitting getting ready for the weekend, okay, is the winter storm that's gonna, I mean,
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
hearing
yeah.
from Texas all
Yep.
the way over into the Carolinas. I'm hearing like snowstorms of like epic here in Kentucky where we're located of like 8 to 12 inches, which dude, I don't know if I've ever seen that type of snow, here in Kentucky. So how did you, having young kids, okay, young, because mine wasn't really young, but young kids, how did you take like these type of things? Because as dads, right, let's think about it as a dad side of it. As dads, we want to be out there and we want to play in the snow with them, especially when they're young. We want to build snow forts and we want to build like snowmen and we want to have snowball fights and we want to have those core memories with them. How did you juggle the pressures of the dealership with, like things like that, fun stuff like winter storm, which hey, come on, guys. I'm not saying if you, especially if you drive and listen to this, winter storms are not fun, but the snow effect, man.
Yeah. So obviously, okay, yeah, I mean, think back, man. What would Glenn make us remember that one time? Like, I don't wanna share a story. Remember that one time that, it was a blizzard, it was a freaking, like, blizzard compared to what we're used to, right? And, somebody got in a four-wheel drive Escalade or a Tahoe or Suburban or something, and they came and went around Lexington and picked up all the people, and it was
We were
like,
driving around
"What
all
the"
over, man. We drove to
Yes.
like I think he was driving to like Richmond, picking up sales guys, Lexington. There were guys picking up people all over the place. And then we were also watching social media
Yeah.
because there were guys that were telling us how they were sick. And
Yeah.
we saw them on social media how they were out the night before at
Yeah.
like Waffle House and stuff. So,
Yeah.
we had to part ways with those people. But yeah, I mean, there was just no excuses for it. We had to, I mean, that's what we did. You had to
Man.
come to work.
That's right, and that's what I would think about, the night before the big storm or whatever when the weather people were talking about it, I was like, "Okay, here we go, like, buckle up, man. Gotta make sure my boots are laid out, gotta make sure my overalls are put up, I gotta make sure, I got the thermal gear, I got my toboggan, I got" I knew, didn't matter the weather, I'm out there busting my ass, right? I'm out there, we all know about clearing cars, right? Especially in the auto world, like, if it snows 4, 5, 6 inches, you're out there with a broom, brooming off the cars for the crazy people that wanna come look at them, right? I think we sold, like, what,
Yes, we had a
cars that
polar vortex the one time,
day?
guys. We had a polar vortex to where, yeah, the managers kinda paid to be
Yeah,
there that day. We
yeah,
didn't get paid anything to be there that day. So,
yeah,
but yeah, we called it the polar vortex event. So, thinking about that and with like all the weather that's moving in and stuff like that, another big headline right now, and with the dads and like what everything is like is the interest rates.
yeah,
With you being the finance guru that you are, okay? I mean, what's your feeling on that? Like, what's your feeling on like with the rates right now and people being kind of influx? Right now, what we're at towards the end of January. This is the time of the year that people are starting to get their your income tax money. Are starting to get their W-2s. We used to love this time of the year for the tax money that was coming in. But I mean, is that really a thing right now with the interest rates? What do you
yeah,
think?
yeah, man. I mean, when it comes down to it, a couple points on the interest rate isn't gonna drastically change your mind if you really want a vehicle, right? Like, if you can afford it, you can afford it. At the end of the day, I don't think it's gonna drastically impact, maybe on, like, the housing market, if it goes up 1 or 2 points, you're talking, hundreds of dollars on your house payment, but, like, on a car, like, I think it's all just hype, right? And I think that we get caught up in that, and breaking down the what it really is, I think that's the important part because most customers, I mean, most of the time in the auto world, we're not selling anything over 100 grand unless you're in like luxury vehicles, right? Um, so breaking down with the customer, just showing them like, look, this isn't, it's not that much of a difference, like 40 bucks a month compared, and they're all, most of them you could pay them off early when the rate goes down, you refinance it. I think it's all hype, man. I think like as far as when the news comes out and they say the Fed rates drop point a quarter or a half a point, I mean, come on, right? To the normal person, who's it? You're a billionaire with hundreds of millions of dollars of real estate. Sure, quarter point, half point's gonna make a big thing, but in our world, I don't see it. It's all hype.
Well,
It's
and we
something.
kinda covered that, like, when during this, like, the sales event over the last couple days with the salespeople, and what we told them was, basically, these are what they call, what Grant Cardone calls reactionary defense responses. Okay. They're basically another way. Any objection you could think of, we wrote down what, like 15 or 20 of these things, and almost all of them, there were a couple that were like, but almost all of them, we were like, this is just another way for a customer to say no to you. I mean, that's really what it is. And we all kind of need to hear that sometimes because we sometimes get so caught up in like what an objection is and like, this rate's too high and this payment's too high and I'm just looking and things like that, when realistically, honestly, that's not even really what it is, man. It's just it's something that we're programmed, that we're supposed to be able to say, that we're supposed to say,
Yeah.
I mean, those type of things. So let's get back to the dad part of it and like the hours and, moms and, things like that. Cause I mean, we had several women that we worked with too, and the hours that we were putting in, I mean, the hours that we were working, and then, um, and even now, I mean, we travel across the country to, to dealerships, and, I know, you're a little bit more sacred about it than I am because my kids
Yeah.
are, grown, but like,
Yeah.
me and you'll talk about, you'll spend what, your weekends, usually like a Saturday or Sunday, you guys are doing what with your kids?
Everything, man. We invest, right? We invest intentional time together, and that's something that all of you all listening should be doing if you're not doing right now. My wife, Destiny, is amazing about investing our time and being a broker of our time, right? She'll make sure that if we have any sliver of time where we could do a memorable moment with our kids, she's putting it on the calendar. Like going to the aquarium, going to the zoo, we used to go to jump parks until one of our kids broke their leg, so don't recommend that, right? But she fills it with something, and some of the times, and I know she's listening, so I'll probably hear about this, but some of the times it's freaking overwhelming, man, right? And I think it's even overwhelming to her too. Um, but we do it because we love our kids, and we do it so that we can work our ass off in other areas and actually give them the time. Like it's one thing to say that you give them time, and Glenn talks about this, and it's really stuck with me since he said it, but the invest versus spend, right? I think that's something that our listeners,
Yeah,
would benefit
I mean, talk about that
from.
because you were talking about the investment. You kept going to invest, invest, invest. When honestly, I think we're all programmed to say, "Well, I'm spending the time doing this, or I'm spending
Yeah.
this and that." I mean, what's
Yeah.
the difference between invest and spend?
So just think of it, man. Like when you spend your money on something, you don't necessarily expect a return on it, right? Or an ROI, return on your investment. But if you invest something, you're expecting to get something back from it. So instead of using the, and language is freaking powerful, dude. We know this, but like the words that you use could impact your whole life. So investing, you changing that word when you say spend something and it's to the positive, and you know that it's very important to you, switching it to invest, just the mentality of I'm getting something back from this. The other person's winning from this as well, or other thing is winning from this as well. I think it's the biggest thing. It's like
Yeah,
just
wow,
changing
yeah.
your verbiage to invest because 'cause you're expecting to get return or you're giving someone return.
And I think that's
So
something we all need to hear in any sales profession that you're in, any profession, period. But honestly, I believe that sales, retail sales, auto sales, whatever, realtors, anything like that. I mean, we're putting in so many hours, and my oldest kid, I really didn't get to spend a lot of time with him growing up for that simple fact. I was putting in the hours to make sure I could give him the life that he wanted. And by no means whatsoever did that kid not have a great life. However, I didn't get to spend a lot of time with them. So, nowadays, like my wife, Jennifer, she'll want to do like on Sunday, she wants to do a game night. Me and my youngest son, we're sitting there like, yeah, we got other things we want to go ahead and do, besides sit here around here and play games. But, on the flip side of it, she is, having us invest that time in one another. So that way we have those core memories to look back on, and, it's one of those moments when we're actually kind of proud of when I look back. I may complain majorly, before, but afterwards I'm like, oh, you know what? God, I wouldn't replace that time for anything, you
That's
know?
right.
And I mean, as parents, we all need to realize that, they remember that, we only have so long, right? We only have so long with the kids. I've got one son that's like 20, I think 24 now. My other one's 16 now, but they're both growing, they're both aging. And it's like, wow, where did time go? I'll look back at pictures and it's like, I'll get yeah, you get emotional, but you also like start realizing, some of the proud stuff. I mean, watching my oldest son graduate high school, and my youngest son. I mean, he's incredible. I mean, kid's a whiz. He's incredibly smart, incredibly gifted. Appearance-wise, a complete 360 from me. He has long hair, I have no hair, things like that. But he's fun to be around. He's basically personality-wise, he's a mini me. So there's times when, me and him, we kind of butt heads majorly. But on the flip side, it's like when we don't butt heads, he's an absolute blast to be around. So I mean, what are some tips you think we could, share with the people that are, whether they're driving, whether they're stuck in traffic, whether they're what'd we say, like they're faking a phone call so they don't have to go back in. Maybe
Yeah.
there's, maybe don't want to go out and shovel the snow, and maybe they're listening to us a few days from now, and we just got the heavy snow, and they don't want to go out and shovel that stuff. I mean, what's some tips you can give them to like make it to where, they're investing and not spending?
Yeah. Just be very intentional, right? Like, be intentional with the time that you are investing with them and do something that, like you said, man, like, you don't wanna have to play games for a few hours, but then once you do it, it feels good on your side, but it also how does it make your son and your wife feel too? Thinking about other people, and I know this might sound, you're like, "Oh, I think about other people," but really? Like, look at it and see if maybe you're being a little selfish, or maybe you're not focused on their feelings as much as you should, and ask them what they enjoy and do more of that. And to your point of like, and I know a lot of people listening have probably done this before, but got home and you're sitting in your car scrolling on social media, right? Instead of using that time to go in and hug your wife or your husband or your kids and taking some time to decompress. I think that now on the flip side, I think it's good to decompress before you go in, right? Like clear your head, decompress, making sure that
Absolutely, it's a must. It's a
you
must.
know, I'm not bringing the shit from work into home, right? You take your shoes off before you go inside, but you don't change your mentality? Like, come on, that's the biggest thing. So
And I
being
think
in
also carving out dedicated time. I mean, I know you do. I'll see you on social media. Where you've taken the kids someplace, maybe to the zoo or something like that. I'll have dedicated time, like especially I mean, we don't really have days off now, but I mean, when we do have time away, like weekends or something, I'm carving out that time to where, listen, this is my time. Am I going to still take a person's phone call or text message? Absolutely. But is this my time? Is this my family's time first? Yes, and, like, when we were in this dealership, I know, like, our day off, and especially our Sunday, I mean, we were blessed to work for a dealership that, they were never open on a Sunday. That was because it was for family. So especially on a Sunday, man, it was, that's when I really got into, like, off-roading and, like, hiking and things like that, because now I not only had that Sunday to where I wasn't really nobody was at work dealing with the dealership, but I was also off grid. I mean, I would go in them places where you're not my cell phone had no signal. You're not gonna be able to reach me that way. So, kind of finding a way to, I'm gonna say escape, but escape with people, not escape. I think that's a problem that a lot of people do or run into. And I think it's the reason why there's people, salespeople that burn out. And I hate the friggin' term burnout because literally burning out is, come on, man. We put a lot of hours in, we didn't burn out. So I think burnout is a mental thing. I think it gets into somebody's head that they're like, that they're just like, there's an issue and that there's, when realistically, if they maybe talk to somebody, if they maybe that was the one thing that was so, for that we were blessed with. It was the fact that although we were working these long hours and although age gaps all over the place, none of us were afraid to talk to one another.
You're right.
If we needed to like talk to somebody, we're talking to somebody and be like, listen, this is what's going on right now. What do dude, I just need a little bit of help.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think that a lot of people listening probably are thinking, like their ego's in the way, or maybe I should have gone here and I didn't do that. But I think that embracing the people that you're with majority of the time and relating to them, right? Like I'm sure I'm sure that they're going through some of the similar things that you are, right? I'm sure that they've done a few things that maybe helped them and you've done a few things that maybe helped you, and you guys talk about it, and then you put together a plan that helps everyone better, right? Like I think that's a big part of it too. So how to win? Let's go back to kind of the topic of it all. What we were talking about is how to win at work and not lose at home. That can mean a couple different things. Is there another way that you take that saying, Sam? Like how to win at work and not lose at home?
Well, I think it's making sure that there's never, ever, ever going to be a work-life balance. I mean,
Agree.
I just
I
think
agree with
it's
that.
not possible. I know there's people nowadays that, they would rather have time off than work, the hours, and and vice versa. There's never going to be a true work-life balance, guys. But I do believe that if you, juggle both the best way, use your time the best way. I mean, time management, time block, getting up early, maybe you need to get up an hour earlier than everybody else. That way, maybe you can get your workout in, maybe get your gratitude and goals in, maybe get your everything in before, especially if you have young kids, before they get to going. Truthfully, in the morning, for the majority of adults, what's an extra hour in the morning that hurts, for you to
Well,
get up?
I think you're right on point. Like we yes, we've talked about the time that we allocate and invest with our families, but you also have to allocate and invest for yourself. Like if you don't take care of yourself and you don't give yourself time and invest in yourself, then that's like Glenn referenced this in the meeting the other day. He was like, you know how the flight attendants, they go over certain things and they're like, all right, when if God forbid the plane goes down, we don't have oxygen, put your mask on first instead of your 5-year-old son or daughter that's sitting beside you. It's hard to think about, but it's reality. Like if you can't take care of yourself, how are you going to take care of other people? And that's something I honestly could have done more of that. I don't think I
But
invested
yeah.
enough self when I was at the dealership because I felt like I needed to give it to everybody else before I took it for myself, if that makes any sense.
Oh, a 1,000%. Because I mean, I think a lot of us and a lot of people nowadays, there's very few people that kind of float right there in the middle. Most of them are one extreme or the other. They either are so selfish, they're only worried about themselves and, they're not going to do anything, or they are on to the other side where they're really too giving. There's very few people that's like right there in the middle. And, I fell unfortunately on the part of the one side of where I was willing to give, I was too giving and I was sacrificed too many things. And, yeah, I think that, that whole, like winning at work, and at home, like I said, there's never going to be a true like balance. I just don't think that it'll ever be the case. But I do think as long as you like do things the right way and, you know, believe in the right things, and believe in the fact that you can win at work and you can win at home, then I think it's a different game. I think it's a different game. But somebody that's thinking that, they can like win at one or the or that they have to focus on one or the other. I mean, that's not true. You can win at both. You just have to manage your time. You may have to get up a little bit earlier. You may have to, take your cell phones and like turn them off at a certain period of time. You may have to sacrifice. Listen, I went to Disney World every frigging year and still do. And I honestly know the place by backwards and forwards. And it's not for me. Now, granted, I like me some Mickey Mouse, but it's not for me. And my wife and kids love it. So it's a little bit of a sacrifice. They sacrificed for me a few years back, and I got like a little 10-day like road trip to the Rocky Mountains and stuff. But I sacrificed to Disney World, because that's one of those things that we do, but you can win by doing that.
Yeah, and a big part of that's having the right partner, right? The right spouse. You and I both, and
You
we're not
have to.
obviously gonna go into depth, but you and I both have been on both streets.
Mhm.
And until you have the right partner that understands you and you understand them, you understand sacrifice, both of you, just like what Sam just said, like you give some, I'll give some, you take some, I'll take some. It's a mutual relationship rather than just we're together because we have to be or feel like we have to be. Because I think we were both kind of in those scenarios of like we were doing the same type of things, but with the wrong person, right? Like it
Yeah.
and sometimes, giving it's a little easier to give to somebody that cares about you and understands you. I'll say understands a better word. Understands you better than the other side, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I said the line on the other episode. I said my wife, that's the one thing she told me not to do. She said, "Do not get in the car sales," because she knew the hours, and I mean, but she was sympathetic to the hours, and she was supportive. Without Jennifer being what she as supportive as she was, no way I could have done what I did. And honestly, who knows? Who knows if I hadn't come to Dan Cummins? Who knows what? Yeah, it's all the pieces that we were there. If you hadn't come there, who knows what? I mean, we would have never really had a triplet program. You have Glenn. It was all those type of things. And I know there's some people who's gonna be like, this spoiled ass is like sitting there complaining because you have to go to the Disney World every. But I mean, it's the thing of if I hadn't been had a supportive enough wife to be able to take care of the kids at home, I could not have done what I did and been able to impact as many lives as I did. Because you got to think, I talked about as many people I got promoted, but think of all that. I literally used to keep a box of Kleenex in my office for the salespeople, so that way they could come in and if they needed to just let it out, they could let it out. I mean, the number of people that would tell me stories. And I mean, I had a guy one time
especially
tell me
guys,
how
right?
he he what?
Especially guys, like
Oh,
men, like, because
all
it's
guys.
hard, dude. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard being a dad, being a man that you feel like you just need to keep it all in, bro. So, like, you opening that space to, like, high level, elite performing masculine alpha dogs, right? And saying, "Dude, we'll shut the door and let's just let it out, bro. Just let it out." And I think it
That
meant a lot, and it got people further.
it did. And I mean, and honestly, they also knew that you listening to them and being able to that they could share those type of moments with you and be able to share what honestly what a lot of us listening to this and a lot of me even sometimes are kind of like an area that we were not comfortable doing. I mean, you're not comfortable, having those type of conversations, but knowing that you were able to have that conversation, then I mean, it made it a little bit easier for, all the way around. And it's the same thing, like Glenn shared with us today, things he's got going on. I mean, everybody out there has something going on in their personal life. Everybody does. So what do you do? I mean, let's tell me one more thing here. Let's give me one more idea of for everybody listening out here, Evan, because I truly consider you a success story with with as much as you have done inside not only a dealership but starting off there and at 800% doing like all the traveling that you were doing, especially early on, with what, two young kids? I mean, three young kids. I mean, three. So I mean, let's give them one more thing.
Actually, right there. Yeah, I keep them with me, man. If you're watching it, you can see I've got a little station for my kids, right? Little mementos that they've made me, that they've brought me, that, you know, whatever it might be. They're definitely the cornerstone of my life. They teach me more than I teach them. Might be hard for you all to relate to if you don't have kids, but
Well, tell us,
um
whoa, stop. Let's stay right there. Like, what do you mean? What do you
yeah,
mean?
so I believe that God gives people kids because they have lessons that, they couldn't learn without them, right? Um I feel like because there are hard times, it helps create patience. It helps create, you know, an aspect of protection. It helps create things that I wouldn't have personally, and not everybody's the same, but I personally wouldn't have certain things or feelings or emotions or whatever you want to call it if I didn't have my kids, right? And I feel like at times they teach me how to be a better man. They show me, like, just for instance, like my son's kind of like what you and your son are. Obviously, he's 3, so it's at a different level, but we're very similar. Me and Kyler. Kyler and I are best friends and worst enemies depending on the day, right? Like
Yep, yep.
he literally makes me a better human because he makes me slow down. He makes me think about what I say. He makes me think about how I act towards him or towards my family. He just makes me an all-around better human being. So I believe that God puts kids in mainly, and I say this biased, but men's lives because they got shit they got to work out that wouldn't happen if they didn't have the kids, right? So
Yeah, but as
it's a
you're talking,
blessing.
I'm sitting here thinking of the other side of it. Think of a mom, and I know we can't even relate, but I mean, think of like a mom or think of a single mom. Think of a single mom. I mean, could you only imagine that? I couldn't. There's no way I could. So, I mean, for all you moms out there, it's even more of a. I mean, we don't know how you do it. I mean, let's just be honest. I would not replace even during the hours of whatever, driving for whatever. There's no way in God's name I would ever replace that with what Jennifer did. No, I could not have stayed home and raised kids. Couldn't have done it. I wouldn't have, and kept my sanity. I couldn't have done it. So it's just
It's
not
funny.
something I'm programmed to do.
No, it's crazy because, like, I'll get home from work, and I'll go in, and I'll sit with the kids, and we'll be playing, and the wife will be cooking or cleaning up something, and then chaos breaks, right? I've got a 19-month-old, a 3-year-old, and an 8-year-old that, love karate, love, dressing up and playing Marvel action or Marvel, heroes and villains and, bank robbers and cops, and then every now and then somebody gets kicked in the forehead, right? Every now and then somebody gets thrown off the couch. And then they look at me and they scream at me and yell at me and throw stuff at me. And I'm like, how? I look up at her. I look up at Destiny and she looks at me and she already knows she's smiling. And I'm like, how do you do this all day? Right. But I'm sure they think about us too. And like, how do you do this all day?
Oh,
Talk to
Jennifer will
people that
she'll hear me like on
you
the
know.
phone with a dealer and like talking,
Yeah.
and she'll just look at me and be like, how do you do that all day? Because it's like I'm almost talking to a kid sometimes, with the ways I'm having to say things. So she
Yep.
knows that. So hey, let's go with give them a one like takeaway, one last little takeaway um, of how to win, not just as a dad, but how to win as a parent. And still win at work.
Yeah, yeah. So how to win at work and not feel like you've lost at home, right? Another little thing that I would do is just making sure that you fully understand both of you. And again, I'm going to like spouses, right? Making sure that you both understand
Yeah, we've talked a lot about
what
kids, but we need to make sure we're thinking about I mean, honestly,
right.
the spouses are we can kind of win over the kids a lot easier sometimes we can our spouses and or
Yeah.
girlfriends or boyfriends or whatever. So, let's think of that. How do we do that?
So making sure that you both understand that your what you love to do and the things that you have to do and the expectations of the relationship, right? Like understand my wife understands that I try not to travel on Mondays and Tuesdays because that's when I have, shared custody with my daughter. So we want to give her all of the time that we humanly can because we only get her half the time. So trying to make my travel, but she knows Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, some Saturdays I might be on the road. I might be in Iowa, might be in New Jersey, might be going to whatever dealership or Las Vegas or whatever for events. Like she understands that. And same with me, right? Like with her appointment. Say she has a doctor's appointment or she wants to go to the gym or she wants her time, like knowing that in the morning time is typically the best time to do that or later in the afternoon when I get off work. Sometimes I give her an hour or two to do what she needs or loves to do. So it's like both understanding and relating, and like we said earlier, giving and taking the equal amount, right, from each other, and just having those expectations. And Glenn's one of those who taught me, like, make sure that you guys have clear expectations and understandings and are on the same page for the most part.
9 kids. Imagine that. 9
No way.
kids. You have no
Nope.
time. You have no time. Mr. Glenn Lundy, don't know how you do it. So, hey, that's a wrap for episode 2. Believe it or not,
Yes,
that's
sir.
2 down. Now we were at, just like a week ago, we're like, okay, we gotta get one. We gotta get one. Now we got 2 of them down. So
Yeah.
that's a wrap for episode 2. And keep in mind, guys, we are not, experts when it comes to, this part of it, like the relationship and the parenting. But we've been through it and we want to like kind of share what we've been through with you on that one. So, we're excited for the next one. We'll have another one coming to you in a few days. And let's go ahead and wrap this up. You know how we wrap it up every single time. Okay. I want you guys to go ahead. We're going to count it down. 3, 2, 1. Everybody, let's win the day.
Hey, let's go.
All right, let's go, guys. See you next time.